Hello everyone. So I made this video in order to answer the questions that most of my subscribers have been asking me based on my my first two AGEGE bread videos. So this video is kind of an eye opener to answer more of these questions. This is a free tutorial, a free recipe nobody can ever share to you. So if you are privileged to watch this video, please watch it to the end and you are going to learn a lot. In my last video, I started by measuring out my water. I measured out 480 grams of room temperature water. I always use room temperature water, or if you are using a bigger machine, you can use cold water. Okay, to that I added 150 grams of granulated sugar, and I added about half tablespoon of bread flavor. Okay, then I added about half tablespoon of white vinegar. In the last video I used lemon juice, so they both act as vitamin C substitutes for this particular video or recipe. Then I added my salt. I added about 15 grams of salt, and then added my all-purpose flour. I used 1 kg or 1000 grams of all-purpose flour, and then 10 grams of instant dry yeast. Then I mounted that to my mixer and it starts mixing. So while it was mixing, I measured out my margarine, 80 grams of margarine, and I made sure that I melted the margarine. And once the margarine was melted, I started adding the margarine gradually into the dough that was mixing in the mixer bowl. Okay, so make sure you just add the melted margarine gradually. So at this point, people complain about like that after adding all their liquid ingredients like the water and the margarine, that their dough was not kind of soft as they wanted it. And my answer to that is that this time around, though your dough can be affected by the temperature and the humidity of your area. So if a particular season or a particular time, if you are in Nigeria now, we are in the dry season, so in this type of season the environment is kind of cold and it can affect the moisture content of your dough, so you need to add a little more moisture to your dough. That is why I added extra 20 grams of water to make it 500 grams of water instead of 480 grams of water. So you have to top up your liquid or your moisture content of your dough a little because of the temperature and the humidity, so that you will still have that exact recipe or exact texture of your dough. So after mixing your dough, you have to also mix your dough for a longer time. Unlike during the rainy days or rainy season, you have to mix it a longer time. Like I told you guys before, is 30 minutes, but now you can give it up to like a 40 minutes so that you have a very soft, super soft dough. Okay, so like I also said in the last video, you have to make sure that once you are done your mixing or kneading your dough, you can just cover it up for like 10 to 20 minutes. Okay, you can just wrap it up for like 10 to 20 minutes, and once that is done, then you can measure out your dough. But this particular dough, I wanted to use it for something else, so I just had to cut out a little part of it and place in this my mini dough pan. I measured each of the dough 200 grams and then placed in this my mini dough pan, my 5 by 3 inches pan, and covered it for up to 7 hours. That's another thing you have to bear in mind, that during this dry season or during the harmattan season, the weather affects the temperature and the humidity affects the rising of your dough. So your dough can take a longer time to rise, so give it that time to rise. Okay, don't add too much of yeast to your dough. If you add too much of yeast to your dough, it's going to affect the taste of your dough. So just give your dough that time to rise, and you bake in your preheated oven at 150 degrees or 180 degrees for 45 to 50 minutes, and you're going to have this amazing bread. Okay, so just put all this together and you are sure you are good to go.